Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Henry and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Flight Sim 2024 and we're talking about the pre-release info that we got the past few weeks and seeing where this flight sim is going to be going. It is a very exciting time because it's less than a month away, so let's see what we've got. So for today's video, I just want to make a quick note. I'm actually getting away from Adobe products, so quick side note, I use Premiere, After Effects, etc. to make videos, and I'm actually getting away from Adobe as a company, so things are going to look different, and hence why it's probably a bit more of a PowerPoint feel because there are some slides in here. But yeah, so if things look weird, that is why. And yes, let us continue. All right, so today you're going to have three main sections. You can look at the chapters below. As always on YouTube, we're going to have the final new features we're looking at, the 4 different editions, yes, 4, that they're going to be coming out with, and we're going to have a nice segment of my top planes for this upcoming Flight Sim iteration. So let us begin. So final new features that we've kind of heard in the past few weeks. So firstly, we know that we are looking at a November 8th 2024 release, getting towards the end of the year. We do have confirmation of ETOPS, IFR, and VFR flight planning natively within Flight Sim. So beforehand, we had to go outside, use third-party flight planning software, especially if you want to simulate like an ETOPS flight or something, and if you're VAT simming, things like that. So we do have confirmation and a few viewings of the new kind of like embedded software that we can play around with. They have airport charts, things like that. It's going to be interesting to see if they kind of make their own, or if they're dealing with multiple countries and their regulators. So if we're dealing with like Nav Canada, if we're dealing with obviously FAA, things like that, or if they're kind of like their own kind of charts they're working on. Also, we have New World imagery, soft body mechanics, and nightlight engines, or I should say engine. So we got new technology, just like with Flight Sim 2020, we got new imagery now. They have a few new techniques of using the engine rendering things. They have soft body physics, so for flags, banners, things like that. For the balloons, it's going to be interesting to see how modern computers that can run 2020 handle these new mechanics implemented. We also have better night lights. So again, night lighting wasn't really the best in 2020, and they acknowledged that in this this most recent slideshow that they had for us. So it's going to be really interesting to see how machines handle the night reflections, things like that. And they have 4,000 times more ground detail. So the engine that they're working with can basically not just render grass and bushes and water and stuff, but also like rocks and pebbles on runways and stuff. So they had like a brief demo of, it almost looks like photogrammetry, but I guess they're talking about like AI and all these other things being involved and create ground scattering and cool looking runways. So they're really talking about, which leads into a digital twin world. So they're really hammering the fact that, kind of like with Matterports and like virtual tours, they're like, yeah, you can get out and take photos of this real world. And they've also partnered with third parties where they have in real life boat traffic now. So there was a few plugins with previous iterations of Flight Sim, but now both air traffic and boat traffic are simulated. So they're really kind of pushing this digital twin world idea. And last but not least, we got the careers detail. So basically, they explained that it can't be in international airports like Pearson or Boston or some crazy place. You have to choose like a third kind of tier regional airport or something, but you basically can start your quote-unquote own company, and from that the game generates missions and you can kind of choose what you want to get involved in. So like if it's like skydiving or agriculture or photography, things like that, it's a really I think it's a really interesting way to go about it, because again, it's not like I missed the old missions mode from Flight Sim X, but it's kind of really cool to see this new intuitive way of doing missions where you literally make your own career from scratch. And it's kind of cool because, like, again, being a Canadian pilot, like it kind of sucks in the sense that you don't get a lot of Canadian content even when they come out with Canada updates for Sims, but now you can choose wherever you want to go. So if you're an American, you can choose an American airport, Australian or New Zealander, you can choose one of your airports, etc. So that's kind of really cool to be able to see that. So yeah, let's go into our next section here, which is about the different editions. So unlike previous editions, there's actually 4 different kinds for this time, and we're gonna start off with saying that you don't have to buy the top tier to get the planes you want. We'll talk about that in a second here. But yes, we have 4 editions now. We have Standard Deluxe, Premium Deluxe, and Aviator editions if you want to spend more money. But don't really worry about getting the top tier edition or even Deluxe. What this is that, believe it or not, most of these aircraft here are actually already in Flight Sim 2020. So how the new structure works is that Microsoft, they do have a few first-party aircraft. So like you have a lot of cool planes like C-17 and all these other guys, Twin Otter, that, yeah, I definitely want those. But like I said, most of these are actually already in Flight Simulator 2020 and or the marketplace. So what the additions are is that they're actually giving you payware aircraft. So, with that being said, if you only want to fly 1 or 2 in the Aviator or Premium Deluxe Edition, research it because it might be cheaper for you to get the Standard Edition and just buy those aircraft in the marketplace. Because you don't have to wait to fly the ATRs or stuff. They're already in the Microsoft Store. So if you already have 2020 and can't wait till 2024, you can go on the marketplace, buy the planes you want to fly now, and you can actually import them into 2024. So like they said, they already confirmed that aircraft that you buy in the 2020 edition are going to work in the 2024 edition. So that if you want to save money, or if you just want to fly those planes now, chances are you can. So again, there are a few reworked airports, things like that. I'm not sure if it's worth paying over $200 Canadian to get the Aviators edition, but again, everyone has their own aircraft that they like. If you do, awesome. I'm probably not going to be doing that for once. I might just wind up going like Deluxe or something and buying the aircraft I actually want to fly. But it's a very interesting system now because it's a level playing field in the sense that we all get the same features, and if you want to fly certain planes, then you just wind up buying or just waiting for a sale. So it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be, because like I was like, oh, you could just get all these planes anyways. But no, you get them at a discounted price, right, for $200. So it's you still get your full package there, and yeah, so that's still good. So kind of mentioned before, you can pre-purchase this. I never pre-purchase games anymore. I do not recommend it. But here we are on the Steam store. You can, of course, get it on the Microsoft Store. I prefer Steam because, again, I have all my games on here. It's easier to update, things like that. So, again, have everything in one place. So we are coming to November 19th. That is when we are coming up for the awesome game. Approximately 3 weeks here. You do have your standard editions right now. Again, I don't know if $259.99 is worth the Aviator edition. Again, it really depends. But you can double check on Steam, and then they might update this as well. But 125 planes, 160 airports. It talks about the different kinds of aircraft you're going to get. Again, definitely check out the Steam page yourself. And we do have those system requirements as well. So the minimum, we are looking at an i7 processor. That's actually the one I'm rocking. So it's going to be interesting. 16 gigs of RAM, as well as a GTX 970, which I'm surprised. I thought they were going to say like a minimum of like a 1060 or something, but that's still a pretty decent, still modern graphics card. And again, 50 gigabytes of available space, which is great in the sense that like we talked about hundreds of gigs before, but again, their new engine and their new system that they're working with is that you download it when you need it. So it looks like the base game, or simulator, whatever you want to call it, is 50 gigabytes. But you're going to be downloading whatever you need, or like bonus add-ons or aircraft when you need it. So you can probably download ahead of time, so if you have a bad internet and you can't stream it. But yeah, so it is nice just to have those actual, like, everything finally posted to Steam. And here we are. So again, image, let's open this up. And you didn't see it earlier, but this is the Aviator edition right here. So again, you do get your other cool planes, you know, like your Antonov, you get your ATRs, you get your, again, both of the ATRs you can see there. You do get the MU2, you get a lot of different unique aircraft, flying boxcar, the Condor, things like that. And while we're on aircraft, let's talk about what I'm looking forward to. This is my own personal top 10 list. And then let's get into what you guys want. Leave a comment below of what you're looking forward to. Different airplanes in Flight Simulator 2024. All right, let's take a look. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. My top 10 planes in Flight Sim 2024. First one is the CL415. Again, beautiful Canadian built aircraft, firefighters. They are absolutely beautiful. And of course, it being an amphib, I got my float rating this past summer, and it is really cool to see these flying boats in action. You know, that turboprop action, having these guys save the world with their fire retardant. And of course, it's going to be cool because, again, being a Canadian, seeing like these aircraft in kind of like their home and native liveries, it's going to be quite exciting. Next up is, of course, a C-17 Glowmaster 3. This was a surprise for me because I saw that they had the A400 in there. But honestly, like, it's going to be really cool to be able to see this heavy lift aircraft in there. As well as, I'm interested to see, I haven't been paying attention to things, obviously I've been gone. But it's going to be kind of cool to see if they have like the ramp and things you can do and like the different missions and like if you can use this in the career path. And it's going to be really cool, especially like the flight computer and things like that, to see that working in the HUD. Next up is the Chinook. Yes, I am not a rotor head, but it is going to be cool to see it in engine because I remember that it took them a while to get the two different rotors working within the Flight Sim 2020 engine. So they're taking that and now you can, you know, it comes natively within Flight Sim. So that's going to be kind of really cool. Again, I'm not a rotor head, but I gotta respect the Chinook. It's a beautiful aircraft. A lot of engineering went into it. And I mean, like, you gotta admit, it looks pretty cool too, right? It's gonna be awesome to do a lot of sling loads and things like that underneath it. Next up is the Pilatus PC-24. I'll put in an image if I can find one because I'm part of this aircraft's history because when I was working in the Canadian Arctic up in Iqaluit, they were doing the cold weather testing at the FBO that I was working at. So just like a lot of other planes that I told in story time here before, unless if you want to hear more about that, I remember seeing this plane up close when it was still getting certified. So again, I feel close to this airplane. Beautiful little plane, you know, starting to become more popular. And yeah, it really fills that like niche market. Like you do have like an executive flying or medevacs, international, things like that. It's a really cool little plane indeed. Next up is the Waco C-47 Delta Skytrain and CG-4A. So the glider and of course the aircraft from World War II. If you've ever watched any of those classic World War II movies or even played Company of Heroes with the British Ark, you are very well acquainted with the gliders. It's going to be able to simulate both the aircraft and glider. So it's going to be, again, not really aerodynamic, but they could carry a payload. You know, you have some of them you can have your little Jeep in there, or you have your little company of people taking their gliders down to Normandy. It's going to be a very unique aircraft to fly. It's going to be kind of cool to see if they have like a mission that you can fly in where it's kind of like one of those anniversaries of Normandy. So it's going to be a really unique kind of aircraft combo we're going to have. Next up is the Cessna 207. Tango. I have never flown it, but I love seeing these different Cessnas added in because again, like whether it's 206, 207, like got bush planes in there. Again, we're all used to 172s and 152s and 150s. It's just nice seeing these other aircraft in there become a more diverse selection of aircraft, right? So again, especially when it comes to like more passenger and cargo ops for light operators, it's going to be really cool, unique aircraft to see. I'm excited for like the whole line of new light aircraft we're going to have in this simulator. So it's going to be a really interesting find in the aircraft selection. Next up is, of course, the Twin Otter, one of my favorite planes. It's nice to see this included natively in Flight Sim now. I just gotta double check this. I don't know if it's like the classic DHC 6 Twin Otter or if it's I don't think it's the Turbo Otter, which Viking Air nowadays they're making with the turboprops. But either way, it's great to see this classic aircraft in there. I'm really excited to fly that within Flight Sim natively. So yeah, let's give one up for the Twin Otter being with the Beaver now. And yeah, again, it's another classic Canadian plane that we're going to see in action in Flight Sim. Next up as well, they do have the Cessna version as well, but the Air Tractor 802s, I have a lot of friends that fly these IRL, and it's really cool to see that turboprop on just like a small little plane. You know, that nose being full of whatever retardant or whatever farm stuff, agriculture stuff you're spraying. It's a really cool little plane, you know. And I've seen like Pawnees, which are similar older non-turboprops, you know, Beto planes. So it's going to be really kind of cool to see this airplane in action in flight sim, especially in the career mode when you're doing like agriculture as well as firefighting stuff. I'm really interested to see the different liveries and stuff that they are coming out with this guy. And the Saab 340B, yes, I am including this guy because being a pilot, you know, it's really cool to kind of see these smaller turboprops finally be involved in Flight Simulator, because again, you always hear the heavy metals like 777s or the 330s, things like that, but it's nice to see like these lighter turboprop aircraft included, you know, like pilots, as we work our way up the career ladder, you know, we work from regionals and then we go into like the larger heavy metal. So it's kind of cool to acknowledge kind of like that pilot path. So they are including, and as well as the ATRs, the two of them that are included here. It's really cool to see both the 42 and 72 included in there, because again, like I said before, it's especially in Canadian Arctic operators. So if you're talking about Summit Air or something, or Calm Air, the ATRs are really used a lot, right? Like besides, you know, like the Dash 8s and things like that, they're used by a lot of Canadian northern operators and around the country and the world, right? Like French Airplane, it's really cool. And I want to double check this, but my time in Iqaluit, I remember hearing that the engines can disconnect like from the crankshaft, so you could have the engine on but not have it turn the prop. So it could act as like a mini ground unit, right? Like a little almost APU, which is kind of a cool idea, right? Like if it's negative 40 below, you can keep your engine running and not have to worry about the props spinning. So that's kind of a cool idea right there. And again, I want to add to this as well the classics, Junkers 52, the Condor, the Caribou, the Curtiss C-46 Spando, like all these planes. Like this is a bonus section, by the way. Like it's just really cool to see all these classic planes, part of aviation history that we've all seen before. You know, if you're watching Ice Pilots or if you're playing War Thunder, like you're used to the Condor and the Junkers. But it's going to be really interesting to see all these aircraft in such a modern simulation. So anyways, those are kind of my top aircraft that I've seen. Other things like the MU-2 and the other newer Cessnas and the classic Cessnas, like it's so diverse, and it's really cool to see these being included, even if they are already in the store or coming to the store, whatever. It's really nice to have this next sim have like this diverse aircraft, and it introduces a lot of people to different areas of flying as well. So like if you're new to aviation or new to flight simming overall, you might never have heard of, you know, aerial crop dusting, or you might not have heard of sky cranes, like the helicopter helping to build the world's towers, like the CN Tower and things like that, right? So it's a really diverse roster for sure, and some really awesome features coming out. Now I want to hear from you guys. What are your planes that you're looking forward to, or careers that you're doing? What are you looking forward to flight sim? Do you have any concerns? Do you have anything that you're super excited to do with friends or yourself doing cool missions? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you as always, everyone, for watching. I hope you fly safe, happy landings, and see you in the next video.